So this is part 2 to the good girls versus street guys. And, just to go ahead and kind of sum up the gist of it, because like I said, it's a real challenge. It's a real situation that a lot of females, they may not necessarily want to discuss it. They may not even have the right people to discuss it, because if everybody in your circle is, working people, all of your friends have degrees, your colleagues, they're moving up the corporate ladder. Like, those are not the people you can go and tell, hey, I met this great dude. He is super handsome. He's gentle. He's nice. That was good. But it doesn't work. He sells drugs. He's a scammer. You can't have those conversations with everybody. But just because you can't have those conversations with everybody, it does not mean that it's not happening. Right. And that's what the first thing that my mind goes to is, okay, any event that there's a Christmas party, there was Christmas parties before COVID came into play, and, all type of stuff like that. And then, you always have your coworkers that the first thing they want to know is, oh, so what does your boyfriend do? What does your husband do? That's just the general icebreaker question. What does he do? And how do you explain that? Right. So that's something that I always played me. Like, I'm not a liar type person. So I don't want to have to explain to you what he does and it's not legit. I don't want to have to come up with this fictitious business that he does. I don't play those kind of games. Right. So I don't want to ever have to be in that type of situation where I have to explain that to you, or to my coworkers, or to my family members, that I can't just straight up tell them that, oh, my boyfriend doesn't have a job, or, the guy that I'm about to marry, he doesn't work. You can't do that when you have school loans, when you went to college, when you have a certain type of job. You can't just say that to the people around you, because guess what? They think you're stupid. They assume you don't have good sense. They assume you're going to throw your life away. They assume you're going to go to jail. The police are going to knock down your door, or someone's going to break in your house and kill you. They assume the worst of the worst. And that's not to say that there's no legitimacy to that, because you can understand the rationale behind their thoughts. Does that mean that happens to everybody? No, it don't happen to everybody. Does it happen? Yes, absolutely it does. Right. But automatically your coworkers, your friends, your family, they're going to think the worst of the worst, because in their mind, that's not your type. That person is not your type. That's not who you're supposed to be being with. What they don't know is that, hey, you can take a street guy. He could be just as wonderful, just as nice, even better, even nicer than a guy that goes to work every day. They are people just like everybody else. They put their pants on the same way everybody else do, So it's not that it's not that they don't have wonderful attributes. It's not that they're any less than anybody else, right? It's never that. But it is the fact of, if you are trying to build, the question always becomes, can I build with this person? If I'm trying to build, can I build with him? Right? Is he ever going to change? Am I going to be the only person bringing a retirement plan to the table? What is his retirement plan? If something happens to him today, am I the person that's going to be holding the house down? Does he have enough money saved where if he stopped doing whatever he's doing today, we'll be all right? Like, his portion will be covered? Does he have that type of savings? Right? Is he, is he reckless in how he's moving around? Does it jeopardize our life every day? Am I going to be staying at a house where people also come to this house, for work, to pick up products? Am I laying my head what a product is? Like, it's so many legitimate things that you have to ask yourself. Is this worth it for me? When I was getting up early in the morning, going to these classes at 8:00, that the professor, took attendance, and I did that. because I was trying to build my life and my brand. Did I do that? All those semesters, did I do that so that I could go and then live like this? That I have to watch, my back when I'm coming home in case somebody following me, that, his name maybe is never going to be on the mortgage because he doesn't have a legitimate work history. Like, it's just a lot of different things that you have to contend with. Or maybe we will have a mortgage, and maybe we have a bogus lawyer on our team that they're able to draw up these papers. They're able to make the paperwork look like it's supposed to look, and that's another question. Okay, well, we have all these people on our team. We could get whatever car we want. We could get a mortgage. We could get, like, is that the fraudulent life that you want to live? Just because, okay, well, he knows people in high places, so he's able to get, a couple things done and make everything look and seem legit. Is that okay with you? Right? It's a lot of real time questions that you have to ask yourself and that you have to be okay with. You have to be okay with that. Like, in your heart of heart, you have to be okay with, getting up, going to work, and he's in the bed. And he might still be in the bed when you get home, just depending on what he got going on for the day. Or maybe he won't be. But maybe he's texting you, yeah, I ain't going nowhere today, or yeah, I'm busy, and it's just never a legitimate place. It's never a legitimate setup. It's always, you hoping that when he went and bust his last leg, everything is fine. Or you hoping that when these dudes, bring this to the house, that it's really the dudes, and it's not it's not jump eye. It's not a setup. It's not, you have to ask yourself, is that lifestyle worth it for you? And if your answer is that it's worth it for you because you love him that much that you're willing to sink the whole ship or sink with the ship if that arises, then hey, that's your answer. Everybody's answer will be different, but it's a real thing and it's a real time issue that you have to contend with. And like I said, it's personal because the reality is that I have been in that situation. And at some point, you have to make a decision. Like, that is either something that you want to continue to entertain or is not something that you want to continue to entertain. And the reality is that for me, it's something that I never wanted to entertain, right? Did I entertain it? Yes. But did I ever really want to entertain it? No, because I knew that that wasn't a lifestyle that I wanted, right? So the best thing that I could have done would be to never even entertain it, period, never to play with it, because it truly is a situation where you're playing with fire. Because even though you don't set out to think that this person is going to be in your life for a long period of time or that you're going to have any real feelings for this person, life happens and things happen. And before you know it, you may develop real feelings. You may even end up with kids, a pregnancy that you wanted or didn't want. Life happens when you're playing these games, or not necessarily playing games, but when you put yourself in certain situations, you just never know how it's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to come of it. If it's just going to be a little fling, a little rendezvous, a little, little razzle dazzle. You never know if that's all it's going to be, or if it's going to be something that you end up regretting for the rest of your life. Because, there are women who have been in situations where their baby daddy or their lover, or, just a guy that was dealing with was heavy in the streets, doing this, that, or the third, and they lost their life behind that, or they went to jail and had to do time behind that. And, they've lost their children behind, having a household that X, Y, and Z was going on in. There have been, it's real talk. People have took losses behind that. Now, do you ever think you're going to be the one that's going to take that loss? Of course not. Of course, you don't think you're going to be the one, right? But does it happen? Yes. Has it happened? Do you know people? Yes, you absolutely do know people who have lost their life, who have took huge losses, who have went to jail, did time, had to lie, went bust licks with they dudes. Like if you know, you know. That's all I can say. If you know, you know, right? It's somebody right now who listen to this and their boyfriend is in the streets. And they trying to figure out, like, is this somebody I want to stay with? They be scared every night. They be scared every night that somebody might come in there, that, oh, what if the police come? Oh, I'm going to lose my job. I might lose my license. I might lose, whatever certification I have. Like, oh my gosh, hopefully he stopped, and you throwing all kind of hints to him. You don't want to do this. You don't like doing this. You don't know how to, you throwing all kind of little hints, talking all baby talk and nice. Well, I'll help you do this. If you want to do this, I'll pay for it. Anything. You be willing to do anything to get him out them streets. And the reality is that a lot of times they don't want to come out them streets and do what you want them to do. It has to be something in that person, in their heart of hearts, that they want to do. Now, can you encourage? You can encourage them till you blue in the face. But what you got to realize is that that's a grown man. You ain't talking to no boy. You ain't dealing with no boy. You dealing with a grown man. He's made a decision that he wanted to make for his life for whatever reason. And until he decides he wants to change, whatever his situation is, it's not going to change. You can't buy him into changing. You can't hunch him, sex him into changing. It's nothing you could do until he decides that that's not the life that he wants to live. Now, is it a chance that he could change his life and say, hey, I want to be with her so bad that I'm willing to do whatever? Yeah, it's a good chance that... Scratch that. It's a chance. I don't know how good it is, but it's a chance. The chance probably is better if the female is able to tote the boat. Now, she's making good money. He may second, he may second the notion that, okay, well, she's making good money. So even if I start my own business, if it's a little rocky at first, she can tote the boat or whatever. He may think like that. If he's really serious about it, and if he feel like he can really trust you, he may consider changing for you, and he may consider it. But most men, they ain't really trying to depend on you for nothing if he a real man. But you know how dudes move real weird these days. They will depend on the female to tote the whole boat and to do all this, that, and the third. So it's a different day and time. So I'm kind of speaking for, I'm kind of talking to only a certain class of people, a certain kind of guy and a certain type of female who really, she has gotten herself caught up in a situation that she never really seen herself being in. She's fell in love with a dude that's in the streets. Her family, don't necessarily co-sign it, but they probably don't necessarily know all what he has going on either. But if they did, they wouldn't co-sign it. So the person that I'm talking to, she's wondering what to do. What should she do? How to maneuver in this situation, and all I could tell her is, good luck with finding out, how you gonna maneuver in this situation. But at the beginning and the end of the day, you got to think about what's best for you. And you got to go back to your original dreams and goals, and if your original dreams and goals did not include having to do any time or having to do time in jail or prison or, dying in a violent way, possibly. Like, if your original dreams and goals didn't include that, then this situation ain't for you. Because at the end of the day, anything can happen. Anything that can possibly happen, it will happen. It can or it will happen. So that's the reality. That's what you're playing with. So you have to keep that in mind. If the robbers come in there tonight and your kids in there, like, is that relationship worth that for you? Right? Is it worth it for you? Is this man willing to lay down his life for you if they come in? Like, come on now. We already know. 9 times out of 10, no. But anyways, I'm not here to judge. I'm definitely not here to judge. It's just an interesting topic because there are a lot of wonderful, super, super dope girls that, that's right now in college. And right now their boyfriend at home that send them money, that make sure they're comfortable in college. He's not anticipating that when she get her degree and when she, graduate from nursing school, graduate from, from pharmacy school or whatever, that she's going to leave him. He hasn't invested his money in her for her to do that, right? But the reality is that after she gets all of that, like, she has to think about, is this the life that I want to live? I don't have to worry about living that life when I'm at college, living in my dorms. I don't have to worry about that when you come to visit me on the weekends. I ain't really worried about that then. Okay, but when we get in the same household, right? And the work is in the closet, or the work is in the trunk. You forgot to take the work out of the trunk and we finna go out of town. Those are the things that you're going to have to worry about and be mindful of, those are the things that you're going to have to consider, and you're going to have to ask yourself, is this relationship worth me risking it all? Risking my business that I've built. Let's just say you ain't even in college, but you got a business and you doing very well, right? And you could say, oh, he don't never keep this over here. He don't keep that over there. Okay, he don't. Let you tell it, right? Because it's no way that you ain't entangled in none of his business ever. You are. You're going to be entangled in some of his business in some kind of way, even if it's just the fact that he's a convicted felon, but you keep your gun on you, right? You keep your gun on you because you're licensed to carry, or you live in Florida and you don't even need a permit to carry, but you're able to carry. But your boyfriend or your old man or this dude that you're going to be with, like, you can never legally even have a gun in your house because he's a convicted felon. Like, that's something that you have to want to be okay with. Now, do most convicted felons probably have guns? Yes, but it does not supersede the fact that trouble is real, jail is real, arrests are real. It happens to the best of us. Even when we trying to do right, sometimes you can just slip up and, hey, before you know it, you in trouble. You need Jane or whoever else you need, right? So yeah, it's just something for us, again, as women, because I love to cover women topics and real things in real time for real women. And if you have been able to maneuver through life and, hey, you never dated guys like that, they never tried to talk to you, you always had legitimate guys, and upscale and great, wonderful, salute to you, my girl, but that's not everybody's story. So I'm definitely here for the underdogs and for the people who are, dealing with other issues, other real life issues that you really have to contend with sometimes. And, a lot of times, especially, when you're growing up in certain areas, like I said on part 1, and, if you look a certain way, because yes, street guys, they like girls that look a certain way. They have a certain look to them, so if you have that look, you are going to attract, you're in high school, you're going to attract the jocks, the guys that play sports, and you're going to attract the dope boys, period. You find the dope boys like you just as much as the boys on the football team. That's the reality of it. You pretty, the boys on the basketball team like you, and the dope boys like you too. Right? That's just the reality of it, So you have to, at some point, you have to just ask yourself, is getting in a relationship with a guy that's in the street, is it worth it for me? And the best time to ask yourself that question is before you ever get into that situation, because once you fall in love with that guy, love is going to blind you. You're not going to make the right decisions in the midst of those moments. That's just keeping it a buck. So it behooves us to make certain decisions about what we would do and what we would not do. We should make certain decisions about our deal breakers before we ever get into those situations. And those are the kind of conversations we should be having with our daughters, with our sons, about the deal breakers long before their feelings are super invested, long before they have children from certain people, long before they're ever in these situations. You want to have these conversations with your kids, your nieces, your nephews, and yourself. Sometimes it's too late for you, but you can have these conversations with other people and try to save them, let them learn from your mistakes. So that's that.